All right. Welcome, everybody. I know I'm about a minute ahead, but as people get in, I'll go ahead and get the ball rolling here. I want to thank everybody for showing up. If you don't know me by face, my name is Michael. I am the service manager here at Divergis. We wanted to present a webinar on Copilot and some of its functionalities and features, and hopefully give you some good tips and tricks on the use of that product. Before we begin and before I introduce our speaker here, I want to point out we do have a Q&A panel. So if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please don't hesitate to send those in. We'll answer as able. I do believe we'll have some Q&A time at the end of the session as well. So we'll be able to answer those questions and see where that takes us. I do want to introduce our speaker today. His name is Nick Conrad. He is a Microsoft consultant for us. He'll be doing the main portion of our webinar for Microsoft Copilot. So I will go ahead and pass the mic over to him and you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, like you said, just Microsoft consultant over here. So I was gonna run through a little bit of like the history and some stuff on Copilot and some AI models and everything. And feel free to, throw any questions or things into the chat there, and we'll, answer them as we can throughout the presentation, or we'll take some time at the end and run through, all the questions and try and show some of the features and things if they're, tied to any specific questions or things. Um, so let's see here. Perfect. So gonna start out. So quick agenda, a little bit for the call. I'm gonna go over a little bit of background about like generative AI and Copilot and how they, work together, how Copilot, builds and works on those, and what the chat model and everything is like. Um, the value of using generative AI and increasing your productivity and increasing your work overall, just boosting individual performance and building on top of the individual's knowledge base already and being able to expand and just increase the overall productivity of it. Then I'm going to jump in, talk a little bit about the like creating the expertise and the skill set in either like writing prompts and working within a large language model or the generative AI. How Copilot fits in, so some different types of Copilot licensing, where I see some typical day-to-day use of it, and then I'll go into just a couple examples, things from my my daily life that I've used Copilot for of building it, and then if we have some time as well, I'll show a slight little demo. I have a Copilot license and things that I can use in it. It's the with how large Copilot is and the feature and availability of it and everyone that's using it, hard to tailor a specific demo to everyone. So I'll just show some of the access, how it can be used within the applications versus the web side of it, and what the what the prompting and everything would look like for specific types of things and environments. So generative AI and Copilot, these are all large language models, and the large language models work by predicting the next string of words and text, and its overall goal is really to make the user happy. So they're powered by an incredible amount of data and compute power. So it's allowing them to develop and map and work within the meaning of like our human language, and it's doing this with different weights and transformers. So the weights would be the representation of like the relationship between words and how they determine those between one another, and then the transformers represent the relationship between words, images, and sounds. So that's more on the the image side of it, and you can actually create images and things within it. So all of this results in very accurate predictions of the next sets of words, and it creates a massive predictive text model that they can accurately guess these next words and everything that are coming up within whatever you're prompting it to that. So its goal, make users happy. You can tell it yes or no on what your response is. It uses that to continuously build and to increase its knowledge base. And with enough of this data and everything that's going through it, it's building out these relationships and it's tailoring it towards the individual to really make sure that the value and everything that's coming from it is up to date and it makes sense within our way of communication as as people. So there's been a a lot more studies recently and build out as AI has been building and getting more and more traction in the, in our day-to-day lives. There was a study by the Harvard Business School. It was also conducted in collaboration with the Boston Consulting Group, but they have analyzed, hundreds of different consultants across like I think it was like 20 different like work tasks, all using, generative AI and these large language models. And in using those, AI finished 12% more of the work tasks. They also completed the tasks 25% faster than those individuals who were not using AI. And then those that also used AI produced a 40% higher quality work results than those that didn't. Um, and then consultants with like the lowest score at the start of the study saw the biggest jump in performance when using AI. And it's really the impact is just increasing the productivity, no matter what the user's skill set is. It is increasing their skill set all the way up to almost to the 80th or 95th percentile, depending on what your original skill set is within that. So it's taking what you already know, being able to put that into this model and using that to increase your productivity and build that growth. And it's been tracked across a bunch of different things. So it's using reading, writing, comprehension, image creation, creativity, innovation. They ran it up against a bunch of different standardized tests as well, and the AI model was finishing in the 80th to 90th percentile over the individuals that were the supposed experts in that area in actually creating that. So it's not just a chat that you can work with and build, it's also a correct option. And it does need some fact checking and everything on it, but how it's working currently is there's not as much fact checking as you would think would need to happen when you're actually utilizing these types of models and everything. So yeah, so that was, more just a quick background of, how it started and, what it's utilizing and how we can do it. And then now I'll get into more of the actual like specific Copilot side of it, and how it can, boost productivity within the workplace, as well as how we can start utilizing it. So, no questions or anything yet. So perfect. So how can Copilot help boost productivity, within the workplace? And I've tried to keep this more overarching for an entire organization instead of tailoring it into, specific areas of it, and building it out. There's, thousands of different examples that we can use for, individuals in whatever type of organization it is. And so if you have questions around like specific ones or specific areas of, how it can work in whatever environment that you're in. Oh, I don't know what just happened there. Oh, there we go. But it is, this is more of just how it can overall generally, assist, and where are some areas that we can work in it. So, Copilot is used to, help people find information, to answer questions, and, perform tasks using the power of AI. So it's there to, generate creative and engaging content. You can use it for, recaps of meetings, different summaries of articles, or of, emails if you were out on a long vacation, using it to summarize your emails and everything, so you're not having to read through, a week's worth of emails. It can help, pull articles for writing prompts and getting a bunch of different facts and everything, and help write code and essays and more things like that. And it's all built on that, Chat GPT-4 as well as the DALL-E side of it. So some of the common use cases, summarizing a long PDF, drafting content, generating images, learning new skill sets as well, and then getting answers for either very specific or super complex questions as well is another great use case that I see for a lot of individuals that are wanting to get into the utilizing of the Copilot features and everything. Couple of different options of Copilot. I'm going to talk about two different versions of Copilot. There's a lot of them out currently by Microsoft, and Microsoft doesn't do the greatest job of their naming conventions and making it easy for individuals that are not, tasked in understanding all of Microsoft documentation. So if you just search Copilot, like 15 different types of licenses and things can show up. So I'm going to I'm going to focus on two of the main types of ones, which is Copilot for web and then Microsoft 365 Copilot. So the Copilot for web is a rebranded of the Bing Chat Enterprise, which is just their AI with a web based on the website of it. It is used or its data set and everything for this is going to be the web. So anything that you put into this is going to be, accessible in the web. It's also going to pull any information, anything it can from the web on that. So it's, if you're using this side of it, this is where you need to be a little bit more cautious about what type of information and things that you're putting into that, because it is like you taking whatever data and content you have and you're putting it onto the web and doing that. So this is really great for helping to effectively research and learning about topics. So in addition to just advanced web searching and image searching, this is going to start compiling everything together, summarizing it for you, putting it into a readable content and into a single area where you are able to just look and search, and then you can build on top of each of those different prompts and things that you're generating within it. And it's a great area for anyone that has an Office 365 tenant. If you have a login credential for that, you have access to this within Copilot. So let's see, just a question pop up. Can it save your search history? So yes, on the website as well as in the work side of it. So those are the two different ones. It will save your search histories of what you've searched and how you can do that. You can delete them from it and remove them from the different search models and everything that's in there. And I'll show you how you can, create a search and add a search in the different sides of it. But it is able to, delete, but also go back and look at old prompts and things that you have made within that. So that's the Copilot for web side of it. Anything that you add in, it's going to be that web-based one. The M365 side of it, so the Copilot for M365, this does have some minimum licensing requirements, so it can't just be purchased for anyone. You do have to have a minimum license requirement before you can add a Copilot license to yourself. If you have questions about your license types and if you can be adding to it, I'm sure Michael can help you and assist you on getting that and making sure that you are at a level where you can purchase the license and add it. For the M365 Copilot, again, it's another powered by the same thing, except now the data set, instead of it being the web-based one, the data set is anything within your Office 365 and M365 tenant. So this goes across your Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, PowerPoint, Excel, and it's wherever you're putting in information, that's where you can start pulling from and start generating and creating either different contents, asking for summaries of it. Maybe you're looking to catch up on different communications that have happened in certain times. I see a lot of people using this now to generate drafts for emails or searching for answers to questions that have been sent maybe a few months ago or something that you've spoke about or talked to. Using it to dig up some of that information that's a little bit harder to find, or if you didn't save it in the right place. It's all based out of your internal tenant and where you can work with it on that side. So those are the two different areas of it. Like I said, that I'm going to be talking about. There are other additional areas of Copilot as well. And so if you have any other questions around that, feel free to bring them up to Michael, and he can always ask me, and I can get some additional information and pieces out over for those. And all right, I got another question here. So before I pop into the next area of this one, this is a really great question here. So the question is, what happens if we don't have strict security on our SharePoint or maybe just security overall within your Office 365 tenant? There, with Copilot, there's a lot of pieces to it that need to happen before it can be rolled out to an entire organization. And so that does come down to creating the correct security groups and the right conditional access policies within the tenant itself. Copilot is assigned to the individual. So it's assigned, I have a license, it's assigned to myself. Whatever my rights and my access into the tenant is what my version of Copilot will have access to. So when it comes to the security piece and everything like that, it is integral that everything is set up and managed and set up correctly, so that a specific user, maybe it's an intern or a lower level tech or something like that that's in it. If you're giving them a Copilot license, you're needing to make sure your tenant is locked down so that that individual doesn't have access to anything that's within SharePoint, even if it's just like a hidden document. If there's anything that's on it that's set as a view only right for anyone in the organization, they're going to have that. Um, and that's another conversation to really dive into the full piece of it. And my approach to it is, if you're going with Copilot for the entire organization, it has to start as like a phased rollout, and building and getting it started with a couple of individuals within the organization, having them work through, try and find where some of the areas are, using the trusted individuals to see if they can break it and find some things that they shouldn't or might not be able to have access to. Um, Taking that and then working with Michael and his team to make sure that your whole tenant is locked down and set up where you know there aren't any bad actors that can get in and take information or personal information out of your internal tenant and put it into a place where it's not going to not going to be beneficial for you or for your organization, on that. So yeah, great question, on that. And there's a whole other area that I can talk to specifically around the security pieces of it and everything. But it really comes down to just, your licensing, your organization, who you're working with, and making sure that there are just general policies and security guidelines set up to, break out your organization. And that's where it's moving when it comes to this, the Office 365 world and everything being in the cloud and people working from home, having that access set up based on, users and groups itself, on that. So yeah, great question. Thank you. Can Copilot another question in here? Sorry. What about data? Can Copilot analyze data? So yeah, within a bunch of different areas, that I don't know exactly what type of data, but like within Excel, you can help, build out areas in Excel. It can help analyze data and that help. Um, it depends on what you're prompting it to do, and how you would want to prompt it and where the data and everything is coming from. If it's, let's say it's from an Excel document that is, a lot of, I'll just use like, orders, like customer orders, date, timestamps, and things over, a 6-month period or something. You could ask it to just, summarize the data and it would create whatever it thinks a summary is. Or, and this is getting into the slide that I'm on now, of creating the actual like structured prompts and, working with the AI and everything on it to build a prompt that is most beneficial to what you're looking for. So yeah, it can work and analyze data. It all just depends on how you input it and what you prompt it to do with that raw data. So again, yeah, that'll transfer me really well into this, which is, yeah, creating that expertise and skill sets and how to do those structured prompting and everything. So the prompting is telling the model, it's an expert at something. It's defining, what you're wanting it to do. You're setting those objectives for it to actually run. You're providing different considerations and assumptions of that model. You're telling it exactly what it needs to do, who it is, how it's going to do it, and what it needs to be. So it's not a, hey, summarize this, and it's going to just give you the answer that you want. You really need to make sure that it is a specific, provide like short, specific details, give it context. You can specify the tone that you want. Once you have that, you can start guiding different responses of it as well. So you can use keywords at the end of your prompt to give it, better directions. Like, hey, can you go in and can you, review this or revise this? I want you to, rewrite that prompt, or that, let's say it was an email. Like, can you rewrite this email in a, more of a urgent tone, as this is a very important email. We wanted to get it out, and we want that tone to be represented within it as well. So yeah, creating those prompts and building that is a big piece to it. So yeah, so like, what is a prompt? I guess so. A prompt is the actual like questions or the instructions that you are going to be giving to Copilot, and this is what Copilot is going to respond to. So this is, an idea of what that actual Copilot page looks like. It has its own, areas where it says like, here's some, areas where you can start. Here's some prompting ideas, things to look at. Again, on this side here as well, this is going back to one of those other questions of, can you review, previous chats and things? This is where it'll show a list of all your previous chats and things that you have already done with Copilot. Those can be removed and deleted, and once they're deleted, they're out of it. So you would have to either know what that prompt was, rewrite that prompt, and come back in. And it's not guaranteed that it's going to give you the same answer as it did the first time for that as well. Um, there's, and you can use Copilot for, the actual prompting of it, but it's also, you can use it just as a, like a classic search for it. The difference between those now is like a classic search was more about like keywords and getting a list of sources based off of those keywords. The Copilot and the AI side of it is more of a chat-based model. So using actual like questions or statements, and then it's going to use that to actually create a custom response specifically to you. So yeah, like an easy example on that one is, draft a call email to a customer. So it's very simple on that one, a very simple response. If you were to add additional pieces into that, hey, can you draft a cold call email to a customer based off of their industry that they're in, and we noticed that they had some click rates on some of our pages or things, like adding more and more to it beyond just draft a cold call email. You can then add, hey, I would also like you to do this, add to it from that and that. So so what makes that an effective prompt here? So that's the a little bit less effective is it's vague, it's just a few words. There's not a lot of context and everything for it to go. Like I said, just hey, can you recap this article? Instead of that, you want something to be a little bit more effective. That's that specific and detailed, full sentences with instructions. You can ask, like I said, tone and performance. So, can you recap the findings of an article I've copied below? Include the top 3 concerns, provide an answer to the top 2 or 2-3 paragraphs, and you want to use that business tone for it. So these are some easy ways that you can start to just add a couple of more things to it, and by adding in those additional pieces of it, it's going to really tailor that response to you and what exactly you're looking for. One of the examples, so this is an example I had that happened to me because I just left for paternity leave. I got back. I had 6 weeks worth of emails and everything and stuff that I needed to go through. 2 years ago, when I left for my first paternity leave, it was okay. I have 2,500 emails now that I have to dig through and go through and prioritize which ones need a response, which ones are still relevant, which ones have already passed, and going through that, it took me 2 weeks of like hard working on just trying to get through everything, making sure I didn't miss anything that was sent, and building that. This most recent time, I was able to use Copilot. It took me a couple of hours to really generate a good prompt and build out, specifically what I was looking for, and ran it in my Outlook to help me just summarize everything from while I was out for the last 6 weeks. So I started out with just, a very simple standard prompt of like, hey, Copilot, can you please summarize all of my emails I received in the last 6 weeks, break them down into 5 different sections based on priority of the reply needed, and then section out all the internal emails into a different summary. So it sounds like it's got some of those pieces and things in it, but after working with it and building it, communicating it with different prompts and things, I ended up getting to something not exactly like this. I wanted to shorten it to fit and make it a little bit easier to read in here. But starting out with, hey, Copilot, so effective immediately, you're my Outlook assistant. So telling Outlook or telling Copilot what its goal is for this. Right now, you are an Outlook assistant. So it knows immediately I can kind of filter out a lot of the different things. I'm going to be focusing on Outlook. You're tasked with reviewing all of my emails from the last 6 weeks. Now we have a timestamp on it. Cool. I can only look at 6 weeks worth of emails starting from today's date, basically. And then I want these emails summarized into the categories below. So then providing it all of these different categories and areas in which it can go allows it to really work, tailor the response to you. And with this, I was able to use a lot of these to even, build out different areas. So like number 7 down here is setting time blocks. So now I'm taking it beyond just, Outlook and email side. I'm also at having it go in and create, blocking out areas on my calendar where I can start to go through and hit these urgent and important emails, things that really need a touch point right away. And it's doing all of this for me without me having to go in and try and do this, remember something. I got two kids now and they're very young and they move around. I'm in the middle of doing something, I get distracted and, have to go over and help the child out or something. This is already running and it's doing that and it's structuring out and building my time of where I need it, working within my organization and all of my different calendar invites and things that are in there, and it's taking that time and it's putting it into a specific spot for it. So building out those prompts and making sure it's specific and tailored to what you're looking for will really give you that best possible answer of how can I use this in my day-to-day to increase my productivity and build it from there. Um, So I have a few little examples and things that I want to show in Copilot. So I know I was talking about a few of them already. Let me get to this. So if you have a Copilot license and you have the access to the Copilot license, if you have just the free version, all you're going to have is just this web page here. And this is just, you know, copilot.microsoft.com. You log in like you would to your normal account, and now you're going to have this, set up, and you can start asking it those questions and building. And hey, I found this article on X, Y, and Z. Can you take this? Can you summarize it and tell me some of the concerns? Like anything online, this is where you can get started and do it. This is where all of your chats and previous posts and everything are going to pop up within Copilot and help you build out and go back and find something if you were working on that. The work side of it, so if you toggle back over into the work side of this is where now instead of looking at the data set being the web, this is where I can start pulling and searching. So I can actually search files and people within my organization and everything within the actual prompting and everything here just on this web page for it. So this is a great area if you're not sure exactly what you're looking for, like if it's trying to search for a document that you had, but you didn't know if you saw it in, maybe it was in SharePoint or maybe it was shared to you via Teams or someone put it in through an email. This is where I would go if you don't know exactly of, hey, Copilot, I want you to search everything within the applications in the organization here. And this is kind of what I'm looking for and where I want it to be prompted from. And so this is, basic area of where you can start it from and do it. All of these Copilot ones that you're doing with that M365 Copilot, it's also going to be baked in specifically into the actual application itself too. So for example, I'll pull up, just a PowerPoint presentation here. In PowerPoint, there is a Copilot option. So I can click on Copilot. It's going to pull up very similar type of thing, going to give me those prompts and everything in here. But it can, some easy ones to already start. Hey, create a presentation from a file. So maybe, for this one, I already have a document that we've been working on and collaborating on in Teams. It has our outline and, areas, things that we're looking at. Hey, can you take this document and I want you to create a presentation from that. I want you to use the theme that we have within PowerPoint here. And I want it to be, like 25 slides long or so, however long it is. This is where you can go in and use this specifically within the application. So like I was saying on the website, that's all of the applications, everything. That's where I would start. If I already know I need to generate a presentation or I need to create a Word doc or whatever it is, I'm going to go to that application. Then I'm going to start working with it and start using Copilot from that. So it's going to be built into all of your different areas within that. So not just PowerPoint. Like I said, we have another one in Word. If I wanted to use Word again, I can do that. It's already going to prompt me a few different options and things here, but it's going to be able to help create and generate and build all of that within the actual application and everything itself on that. Let's see here. So that's, those are the, different areas and everything on the actual like Copilot side. Let me see if we can get this last presentation piece and everything here pulled up for it. Oh, whoops, sorry, wrong slide. Perfect. So, so building up, Copilot and your AI strategy really is just, how is it going to work within your business model and your organization? using this to increase, individuals' performance within the organization to make sure that they are, you know, increasing their productivity by however much they can. Like I said, some of the things getting minimum like 15% increase up to like 40% increase in productivity. It is a lot heavier on the creativity and the creation side of it. But building it out and being able to utilize it and tailor it towards your own specific workplace experiences is really where I'm seeing the shift in everything within the market today of how can people use this to not, it's not going to take over a job. It's not going to, replace an individual. How can it enhance the individual where they are now more productive and able to use the resources and everything that they have at hand to, create these new things and build it out and make their day-to-day much easier and simpler. I have a few links and things that I'll send out. I think Michael has them already as well. These are just, some general Microsoft links if you have more information and things that you want around Copilot. And then, some getting started, how to access it from the web. There's different, Microsoft labs and things as well built out. But those are, some of the areas and things for that. I see another question in there. Can it summarize a Teams meeting? So yes, there's two different versions of that. So one of the Copilot ones is Microsoft Teams Premium, and then it's also included in this M365 Copilot. On the team side, I use this almost daily. This is one where it will record the meeting. It will do a transcript of the meeting. At the end of the meeting, once it's done, it will section out any action items. It'll give you a summary of what was said and everything during the meeting. And then it also breaks that meeting down into different chapters as well for you. So who was talking at what time, what was the general topic made during this time stamps of these conversations. And it has a bunch of different areas and things like that of, timestamps of who was talking, who talked the most, when was that user talking. You can also take the entire transcript and run it through Copilot as well. So that's another thing that I see a lot of individuals using that the team side of it for. One example that I have from working with another partner is they had all of their hiring managers they took their list of whatever their questions and things were. They, as they were asking them through the interview process and everything, they were able to, take the recording of that meeting, run it against what their questions and their prompts were, tie it into that individual's resume as well, and utilizing all of that to be able to, tailor certain answers and certain questions of who is going to be a good candidate versus someone that's not a good candidate, and building it up on that. So that was one of the big examples that I've seen, and building that and being able to create and taking those transcripts to do that. So Teams meetings is another great one that I can see. Let's see, I got a couple other questions. So can you tell to create a document, see it actually work? Yes, absolutely. Let me get to that. I'll do the creating a document thing in just a second here. There's another question. So can Copilot compare two Word documents or files and make corrections when needed? So example, document 1 being standard for a policy and document 2 being the actual policy. Yes, absolutely. So you can you do that in either the website of it or within Word itself. You can pull up Copilot in one of the Word documents in there, and then in the actual chat side of it, you can say, hey, can you compare this to this either, and then prompt it with however you want to see it compare them. Are they identical? Where are areas that we can increase? Maybe it's some legal knowledge on it, or we need this document, anything that's in, let's say it's, a document that's been worked on like across the organization. Hey, Copilot, can you tell us what the differences are or what was updated, between this document and the previous one? Who made the changes within it? So a bunch of different things that you could do to kind of compare the documents and everything within it. And let me see, I think I have a prompted piece for this. Let me see if I have a generative prompt already. So give me 1 second. I'll try and get that one pulled up. let's see if I have a prompt here. Sorry, I have to be a little specific on this because I can't show some of my other things within Copilot. But give me just a second. So I have one. Oh, sorry, I had one pulled up and now I can't seem to find it. But that's all right. We can just pull one up and just generate our own type of prompt here of what we're looking for. So for Copilot, let's see. So uh, let's see, an expert in, actually, hold on, I gotta find something for this. Sorry, I had one of these pulled up already and it just got deleted and I can't seem to find where the actual, I had a prompt already built and now it's gone. So gotta love all of these things. All right, let's see. I have one that I think I can do for this really quickly. Just a second here. I'll pull one other thing up. Sorry, trying to work within a few different things. I had a prompt already built and now it's gone. So I'm trying to take something else and make it work for this. Well, while I'm trying to get that pulled up, let me look at something else here. Let's see. So I'm gonna try and get one of those documents I think here pulled up so I can actually show what it looks like within that. I mean, we can have it just do a very simple one. I wanted to actually have a prompt of like generating something for me, but we can try something else here. So some of the other questions. So how secure is the information you have use in Copilot? So it's as secure as the whatever the user's access is within the organization. So the Copilot itself will only have access to what the user has access to and any view rights that they have. So if I, you know, prompted Copilot to pull, let's say, like the pay stubs for, anyone in my organization that I wanted to search at, if I'm not in that security group that allows me to, look at those within the finance side of it, Copilot would just would say you don't have access, or it wouldn't be able to pull anything for me. For the data that you put into Copilot, if it's Copilot for the web, that's where I would say hold off on posting any, personal information or any data and things that you're not willing to actually post out to the web on it, because it is just using the website of it. There are, Microsoft security and things on it, but anything that you're going to be posting out to the web is not going to be, something that I'd want. If you're using it within the work side of it, then it's whatever your organization's security policies and practices are. That's what Copilot is going to follow, and it's going to be followed it tied to the user itself. So another question. So can Copilot create automated systems, say an email from a certain address triggers a certain Word document to be created? So yes, this is a different section of Copilot. So there's a few different types of Copilot licensing and everything for it. This would be more of like a Copilot Studio license. So it's building it based off of the Power Platform, and you're creating your own basically like AI chat that is going to take that. So it would say, hey, if an email comes in from this, I need you to take that email and generate this type of Word document follow-up. So yes, Copilot can do that. It's not part of the main Copilot that's tied into the applications, but it is something that is already built out, and it's just more of a specific area tailored within the like Dynamics and the Power Platform piece of it, and not just like the Office 365 side for it. Can it add things to your calendar for you? Yes, absolutely, it can. So if you, let's say you get an email from, Michael sent me an email and said, hey, I want to, get a call set up to, follow up on the webinar from today. I could take that email, and in my email itself, on the top line of it, it's actually just a Copilot set, and it says like schedule with Copilot, and it will look at my calendar, and it will generate an email that says like here are some of the time slots I have available, and I can either send it out that way, or if it's hey Nick, I want to meet with you on Friday at 2 p.m., then I can Copilot, I can just say hey, send out a meeting invite for Friday at 2 p.m. Mountain, and it'll generate it and create it out that way for you. Does Copilot work on mobile devices? Yes. So the web apps and everything, you can use it on that. There's actually a once you have Copilot started and get set up, there is a mobile app for it. It is just the Copilot for web piece of it, and then the access in the applications and everything is also available on that. It's just not as useful within the actual like the applications piece of it. The website of it is going to be the actual like app piece that you can use on the phone. And then let's see, another question. Can Copilot be utilized to perform tasks such as identifying documents in SharePoints and emails older than a certain date and then archiving them to a new directory or folder? Yes, so you can, depending, you can do most of that on it. So definitely the emails and everything, you can use those to set them to archive by, telling it to, hey, anything that's over, a year old, I want you to move into my archive folder. It will still prompt you to, instead of just hitting enter and doing that, it'll still prompt you of saying, are you sure you want to move this? Just like you would if you were dragging and dropping things in your Outlook into a folder or moving that. So it does take confirmation on it to do that. For the SharePoint side of it, it can definitely identify those documents. The moving of them would also depend on some of your policies within the organization. If that document is in a like a shared drive and you're not an admin within that SharePoint site to be able to change the label on it, then you can't change that label. But if you as the user have that access, then yes, you can go in and utilize Copilot to make those feature changes and everything on there. Let's see for this. Let's see if I want to do. I'll try and do a quick little document one. Oh my goodness.
And yes, please, guys, while Nick is working on that, don't be afraid to submit some more questions to the Q&A. I do know we have just a few more minutes here. So if any other follow-up happens, but don't be afraid to reach out to us as well. So Nick, were you getting that prompt there? Or?
Yeah, I was just getting it pulled up.
Okay, okay, sorry about that.
No, totally fine. So.
And while Nick's working on that, I do see one question here as well. Does Copilot work on mobile devices? The answer is yes. There is a mobile app for Android and iOS. I do believe you should be able to sign in with the free version as well. Very similar, and I like to compare it to Apple, the Siri built-in app. But very similar in asking questions, being able to give responses and things like that, or even the newer iPhones as an example, generating responses. The Copilot's very similar in that aspect. So yes to that one on mobile devices.
Let's see. Let's see if this one will work. I was just trying to do something really quick. So, a monthly workout plan. Just, can you generate an outline for a monthly workout plan? Um, this would be one where within the actual like application itself, so within Word, typically is where you would try and pull in like other documents and sites and things for it. So this one right now, it is using the web to try and pull some of this information and everything for it. But this is where it can, create this actual document, look into it. This is going to build out that, that monthly plan here. I can, just take that, copy it, and put it into a different workout. This was just like an easy one, just a very simple prompt that I wanted to do, but creating that outline for it. Some other things that I said, I was just thinking about the hiring side of it. If it's, hey, here is my, let's say it's looking at a resume. Hey, here's my resume. Can you use my resume and help me create a cover letter, based off of this job description, and then posting in the job description or something. And it'll go through, look at what you have within that, build it, and then add in any notes and things that you want with it. But this would be one of those easy ways where it's just, hey, this is how we can go in and create that prompt and build some things for you. This is also where they're going to add, some suggestions and things based off of, what it was able to find while looking for, for that information and things in there. So that was just one, I mean, quick, easy one to do that I was just putting in. Like I said, it works a little bit better if you already have some, pre-built data and things to build off of. And I apologize for that. I had one that was, it was around around using a resume, and I had a dummy resume, and for some reason it is just gone. I can't find it. So, um,
Hey Nick, I'll throw one more at you. I think
hmm.
it was a good one from our question queue. Uh, we've got a person here asking, can Copilot work off of PDFs as well? Let's say we prompted it to analyze the contents of handwritten work, like a work order form. They scanned it in. Can Copilot work from that PDF as well?
Um, so yes, it should be able to work from that. You would have to use it on the actual like the website for it, and update it into that. Well, you could use it in one of the different ones as well on the work side. The web one would be easier, mostly because it would be taking that as either like a PDF or an image and trying to analyze the actual like image and the words and everything that's within that. So you, as a PDF itself, yeah, I can use it and read it. If it's actual handwritten prompting stuff, then we would have to use it as an image to search for and to yeah, pull some information and things off of that. Um, but yes, you can use it for a bunch of different ones.
Cool.
And then let's see. So for the web, so when it reaches out to the web for info, such as the workout plan example, does it give source? So on the in the actual application side, so that's where this one wasn't a great example because it did pull from the web for it. If you're using this, this is typically when you're in like the actual application piece of it, that's where you would be tying it to another piece. If you're using it within like the website, yes, it will pull all of the links and it'll show you where it found the relevant information, and give you the access to that. So if I put that same prompt in here, it will give the areas where it pulled the information from. So let's see if I can just get that really quickly. So for this is going to be basically the same thing. It'll probably give a different type of reply to it overall. But this was asking, it's just asking for more information now. So just make this really quick so that it will go through here. So on these ones, let's see, once it has it'll finish up, it'll give you links to, where it's finding the information, and getting it set up. Let's see if this one has one. Um, let's see, sometimes you have to prompt it for it. So I'm using it more typically on the like searching for an Office 365 side of like building those out. But yes, it will actually give you the links if it's certain ones. I think this one is just too simple and generic of a prompt, or it's not actually going to pull that. But like specific questions and things, if it's needing to look through other options, it is going to pull and show the actual the source and everything where it came from, and pulling that in. I think this one is just too simple of a of an area of a prompt, and it's based off of just what I was giving it right there. 90% of every other time that I've used it, especially for like work questions and things like that, it provides all of them as links where it came from, and then you can look through and fact check all of the data and sets off of those.
Awesome. Awesome.
There is no trial of Copilot available from Microsoft right now. So sorry, the question was, can I get a trial version of Copilot? Unfortunately, no, there is no trial available. It is right now only available as an annual upfront license from Microsoft.
And I'll step in on there, Nick, because I know we had a couple questions around licensing and whatnot. Um, Obviously, we want to work with you guys in the implementation or the even trials of working through this product. Um, so we do have, as we wrap up the webinar here, that was one of my leaving comments is yes, please, with any questions or about licensing or general Q&A or whatever, don't hesitate to reach out, call us by number or email help@divergis.com. Nick, thank you for the presentation and helping us out here. This is awesome first webinar on Microsoft Copilot and some of its functions and features. It's one of those things where you could talk for hours about what it can do and help you become more efficient as an employee or within organizations. So again, thank you, Nick. Thank you to all of our attendees that came today. You will receive this webinar through recording within the next couple of weeks from our emails that'll go out. So you'll be able to have that to refer to and all that. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, right? Reach out to us. Help@divergis.com is going to be the main email to send to. So I think we're good to go. Nick, thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody. And you enjoy your days.
Thank you.